Welcome back, everybody, to the Smart Park Podcast by Aquatic Development Group, where we dive into ideas, innovations, and people shaping the future of aquatic recreation. I'm your host, Julie Kline, and today we're joined by two guests from Subsea Systems, Hannah and Keenan Mayfield. In this episode, we're talking about how pay-to-play attractions can drive both revenue and guest engagement, and why immersive experiences continue to resonate with today's guests. We'll start with a behind-the-scenes backstory of Subsea Systems and understand the underwater experience. Welcome to the show, you two. How are you?
Really good. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Well, I will say this is the most exciting and depressing episode for me because we obviously filmed previously at IAPA and had some Wi-Fi glitches. Everyone who goes to IAPA knows it's a spotty Wi-Fi, but we're here. We've got it. First of the new year. So thank you guys so much for making the time.
I will say we've swapped out the beers for coffee today. So
I've got some water, so
Swapped out siblings.
yeah, and swap siblings.
Well, so for those of us who might not be familiar with Subsea Systems, can you guys kind of just give us a little bit of background of the company and just, some of the different experiences that you create?
Yeah, so Subsea Systems, we're a family-owned business, and Keenan is my brother. We're second generation. Our dad started the company back in the 80s, and the company actually was formed around building submarines and semi-submersibles. So my dad and his business partner had this crazy idea that they wanted to divest from their current investments and then put all their money in building a submarine. And so it was just kind of a dream of theirs, and they made it a reality. And so we, over the years, built about 24 submarines and semi-subs. And then from there, the business evolved to actually getting people in the water because my dad's always had a passion for diving in the ocean. And so Snuba was invented, and then we went next step in Sea Trek. Sea Trek is a helmet diving program, so you're walking underwater. You don't even have to know how to swim. And the Sea Trek started in '99. And from there, we've just really exploded. So we've gone to, we have a VR snorkeling product, Aquatic is our underwater adventure ride. We have solar electric catamarans that we build, and we've even partnered with DOF Robotics on a motion simulator ride called Dive Bell. And then at IAPA this past year, we introduced Snorkel Drift, which is our latest attraction, and it's a flying snorkeling experience. So as you can see, we're really focused on everything in and around the water. We're all divers here, and we just want to share that underwater world with everyone else.
And you're even in TV shows, very popular TV shows.
Yeah, so
recently about that.
You want to?
Yeah. I mean, we've definitely been, I guess, blessed with unique opportunities in different platforms and shows and movies that have featured some of our products over the years. Everything from The Bachelor to Discovery Channel Shark Week episodes to a little Netflix show called Stranger Things.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so their most recent season, the final season, sadly, our helmet was featured. It was also featured in the very first season of Stranger Things as well. So to be contacted by people like that, unique opportunities, and just an opportunity to dive, no pun intended, into a completely different world that is film production and movie making, and be a very, very small component to these shows has been really, really interesting and unique for us. So that was a bit of a wild experience for myself personally, both the very first season with Stranger Things, to go out for the filming of that, and then most recently to run it back with them so many years later on their very final season, like at the very end of their production of that season, was pretty cool.
Like full circle moment, right?
Very full circle,
yeah.
Especially for somebody like Millie Bobby Brown, who was just 11 years old, brand new on the scene, I guess you could say, in terms of Hollywood and that world. She was just this spunky little 11-year-old when I met her, when she tried our Sea Trek helmet on for the first time, and then now come back, and 10 years later, it's this grown movie star of a woman,
Right.
but still utilizing our helmet for a really cool, unique shot that they had for the TV show. Was really, really awesome. It is true. It is such a whole nother world to see, film production and just what they do and all the hundreds of people in these sets that they build. It's wild what they still make with their hands too. It's not all just computer generated. Yeah.
Right. Well, as I say, it kind of reminds me, and I don't know if you guys even know this, but we actually did work with the Life of Pi movie and a few others, like working with Ang Lee, because similarly, they wanted motion in their to simulate the ocean, but they didn't just want to use CGI. They built a tank, and our team went out to Taiwan to actually commission wave systems to simulate in the movie. And so I think
Really cool.
the really bizarreness of that, our world of building aquatic experiences isn't just for, the typical water park guest or, film productions, but I think it kind of is neat how we touch so many different industries. And that's kind of a great segue into, talking about what we're here to talk about today.
Yeah.
I was going to say one of my favorite things about you guys, the company in general, is your family dynamic. Not only are you guys just like some of the friendliest people I've ever met and you have good and cool products, but I always wonder, and I think, how that actual relationship of working in a family-owned business, how does that work for you guys? Did you know when you were growing up that this was something you all were going to be a part of? Were you sea trekking at 10?
Or younger? I mean, there's pictures of me in the bathtub as like a 3-year-old with a regulator in my mouth and a scuba tank next to the bathtub. So we've definitely grown up in the business and just have been around it our entire lives. I was the first to join from a professional standpoint, to join the company, and then my older brother Kyle joined, and then Keenan came around and joined. We just have a lot of fun together. We all play really unique roles in the company, so there's not a lot of stepping on each other's toes or being competitive. We all just work really well together. Kind of pride ourselves on communication and also having fun in the office, which allows us to just, make
Keep
life.
staying light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
But
it's
it's
worked
fun
out.
industry, so you should be able to have fun doing it, right? It's awesome.
Exactly.
Awesome.
I think it's important for us to not take ourselves or anything for that matter too incredibly seriously. So I think when we start with the lighthearted approach that we do have, I think that creates a good setting or foundation for the environment that we've been, so lucky and fortunate to be able to create with each other.
And that
yeah,
touches your clients. Yeah. I mean, like you feel that,
I appreciate that. I think that's, again, something that we really pride ourselves on is, I mean, we're a small company. A lot of people that we talk to think that we have a house here of 50 to 100 people, and we're like 15 strong, with our core family being 5 of that. And I really think a lot of our reach and a lot of our ability comes from just our ability to get out there and communicate and get face to face with people and show them who we are. So, to have you say that and others is really an honor, and it's a privilege for us just to be able to get out there and show people what our family does, and the fact that our dynamic hits home for so many people is pretty cool too, because it's just who we are. But we love that. We love being able to get out there and show people, not only the products that we offer and the things that we do, but that you get to work with a family like ours.
I think that's great. And, we were kind of joking about it before we started recording, but, talking about even the people that might not know you, get to see some of the LinkedIn shorts that you guys get at the trade show. So start to see some of that fun come through.
Yeah.
Personality.
Get a little bit more of it out there. I think places like LinkedIn and just social media in general can get a little dry. But to give them a shout out, I personally got a bit of inspiration from one of your own, Ray, who inspired some of my LinkedIn content that I put out more recently. So shout out to Ray.
As we say, when he listens, I'm sure he'll be very flattered. He'll be giving out autographs another time. No, we can't derail this conversation. Turning back to kind of some of the products that you offer, I see Miles working away in the background on the computer. Tell us a little bit about what that creative process looks like. You keep talking about how far the company's come and the different product evolution you've had. You're launching new ideas every year, and you have your world's first aquatic car launching at Kadia. So, I mean, tell us a little bit about how those innovations and creativity kind of happens.
I attribute it most of it to our dad, who he says he doesn't sleep a lot, which I believe that. So he always comes up with these crazy ideas, we're assuming, when he's not sleeping at night. And one day he'll just come in and be like, I had this idea. What do you guys think of this? And he loves to sketch and draw. So he'll always grab scratch paper and just start sketching stuff out. Meanwhile, we're all looking at each other like, okay, Dad, like,
What's going on here?
we'll see. But, out of those crazy ideas comes products like Aquatic car. Who would have thought we'd be driving a car underwater on an adventure ride? But it makes for a challenge on the other side, which is how do we produce this and make this, real from the dream to reality? And so that's definitely the challenging, but also the fun side of our business to go from paper to reality. So
We get to solve some unique problems, that's for sure. Not different from what you guys do as well.
yeah.
Part of what we do is create some pretty wild stuff from our products to your guys' different wave technology and the things that you guys produce too. There's a unique set of problems and solutions that require coming up with. I think one of the biggest for us is everything that we build there's nothing that comes off the shelf. I mean, we have to build, by and large, everything that goes into these products from scratch.
We can say like that we reinvented the wheel, because when we built Aquatic car, we scoured products everywhere to find an off-the-shelf wheel that would fit the need for Aquatic car, and we couldn't find what we needed. It had to have different durometers for the piping and the interior, and so we ended up building our own wheel like, to that level, which is crazy. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
It's so true. I mean, it's just so funny. I've always said this with you guys is that there's a lot of similarities between our businesses of, creativity, problem solving. I mean, these are words we always talk about as kind of like the core of who we are, a family-owned business. And it's really funny because, I think of our upstairs of our office is where all like the ideas come. We have our planning department. We've got the salespeople coming up with really creative ideas and working with our planning department. And then we always call the downstairs where the dreams go to die. But it's true, right? Sounds morbid, but taking
like Kyle's
ideas.
office.
Yeah.
Kyle's office, both production,
stuff.
production and engineering. That's where a lot of dad's dreams, let's just say, get humbled. Maybe they never go to die. Dad does not let things go to die. If he believes in it, we're a strong-willed family, all of us. So those ideas get fine-tuned,
Right.
and through a lot of that is Kyle, and just helping to realize that some of the dreams require a set of engineering or certain elements that may just not be able to be created. But
Right.
again, look at what we created.
Point, right? Or like, okay,
Yep.
how is this actually going to get built? Or starting to look at all those pieces are real elements of a project. And, it can look really good on paper, but once you start really diving into the engineering process, how are we going to actually deliver this to our customers, service it, figure out all those pieces? So I think you guys have done an awesome job of such awesome, not just concepts, but really project delivery, because we've seen your name now in a lot of exciting projects. So congratulations on that.
I think one area, sorry to interrupt, that we've really kind of honed in on in recent years is collaborating with other industry partners. I mentioned earlier with DOF Robotics and our dive bell motion simulator ride. Snorkel Drift is actually in collaboration with Rixon. They do the cable wake surf systems. And so trying to find partners for synergies, but like using their products in a different way, in a new application. And so I like that approach. I think it offers a lot of creativity and new ways to use products that are already in the market.
Yeah, it helps breach some of those barriers to the market to get in there. You've got people with existing knowledge, products, expertise in those respective industries, and that helps to really bridge that gap and introduce a new product to the market a lot quicker, a lot more effectively, a lot more cost effectively for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's so similar to I've always wanted to work with you guys and, you approached us about the small park concept, right? And I think that when we look at where that concept of Epic Sea started and the imagery books and how we've evolved that as a team, right? Looking at it from not just product, but how do we have circulation and what's the capacity? What does this cost? I think we came up with something really compelling that we can go out and show people that might be looking for something different and not know what they're looking for, right?
Yeah.
Presenting new ideas, but teaming up on projects allows for the best of both worlds for a customer.
It creates a dynamic duo.
Yes,
for sure. That's for sure.
And touching on our small park project, I read an industry headline the other day that said one of the emerging trends in the theme park industry, and I think it'll bleed into the water park industry, is this idea of smaller half-day experiences that are more affordable, that, family can go out and do together. And I really think that we're onto something on the forefront of this emerging trend, which
We're
is
on
exciting.
trend.
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. Well, it's a really good segue into one of the questions I wanted to kind of talk about is pay to play attractions. Looking at some of the different experiences, you can go down a water slide, you can go in a pool. And again, those are great experiences, nothing negative against those. But when you start to look at these really like immersive pay to play amenities, how do you present those to a customer? Or when you're getting approached from a customer looking for something, what are really the key things that they're looking for?
We've recently had clients come to us saying, what's new? What's new in the water park sphere? As you mentioned, we've seen the water slides and the lazy rivers, which are core products that you need in a water park. But what's something new that we could show to our clientele? And so when we show some of these experiences, we need a lot of visuals to kind of
Always.
to show, what this concept may be. But along with it is also showing them another revenue stream. And so kind of changing the model or the perception for a water park, just as you're talking about this pay to play. And so trying to think of other ways to generate revenue. I think photo sales really kind of kicked off that trend and was one aspect of it. But now considering these more VIP, small throughput experiences that people pay for and they feel like a little special, getting to do this extra attraction is really attractive to clients. So we're seeing a lot of demand for that in the industry.
Well, as we say, even, a unique piece, and we say this on the surf side, which reminds me a lot of this is also spectator appeal, right? Because,
Yeah.
mom, dad, grandma might not want to. They could do the experience, absolutely, but they might not want to. They just might want to watch little Keenan go in a quad car and take a picture, right?
Yep.
And, having those experiences, I think not only from the revenue of the ticket sale, but also all that ancillary around it.
Yeah. And I think that perspective too, Julie, drives designers, especially in your field, to really think about, okay, when I do a park layout for these underwater experiences, I need to have areas where people that dry side can go and watch it. Is this underground viewing? Are we going to raise it up and have acrylic windows that people can look through? You kind of have to see that perspective for those that may not get in the water.
Yeah, even elements like, I know I have celebrates this year was at Epic Universe. And one of my favorite pieces was the queue area, right? I'm a huge Harry Potter nerd. So when I got to go through, right?
Yes.
Just getting to the ride was an experience in itself. And so you think about some of these underwater immersive experiences, it's almost seeing people do it before you do it and how you can make that area be so engaging. It kind of reminds me of your dive bell. It sets the tone.
Literally what I was
For
just
that
going to say.
Yeah.
That dive bell system is just that. That's that storytelling vessel, in augmented extended reality that can sort of take guests like they're going through a queuing line, but on a ride-like experience, and help to paint that picture, help to tell that story before they, arrive at a destination or before they arrive at an entry to a ride, or a sea trek experience, actually getting in the water. It's the perfect vessel for something like that to create that storytelling aspect, that storytelling element, just like those queuing lines do at Epic and at Disney World. I remember the Star Wars ride when we had gone for 2 years ago for that, but just that. I mean, the second you entered that, what seemed like hours long line, going hundreds of feet. I mean, the theming, the elements of it, they're telling such a vivid story from the second you enter that line. And I think that's something that water parks are learning to and working on adapting and moving towards that more theme park storytelling element that's starting to blend and kind of bridge that.
Agreed. And I think, adopting some of the amusement park model into some of these pay to play amenities really helps with driving the revenue because it is a bit different, right? You go
Mhm.
to a water park a lot of the times and you're just passive capacity, walking around, sitting in a chair. Amusement parks are much more queue driven. And so when you start to look at how that trickles into the water park space, it's a bit of a different model and a little bit of a different learning curve. And I think sometimes when we always use the Universals and Disneys, which they're so easy to go to because they set the benchmark on theming so high, there's a lot of things that smaller parks can do that can create these immersive environments through screens and smaller tactics to help paint that story too. So it doesn't have to be huge
Massive.
catalogs.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think another thing, just on the topic of the different ancillaries and unique experiences for these water park environments, is offsetting, some of the stress that these big water parks experience in the summertime. So we talk a lot about slide towers, and with water park operators, just on how inundated and backed up they get. I mean, it's pretty commonplace to drive by a water park in the summertime and see just lines of people spiraling down a water slide tower, and how some of these other unique experiences can help to offset, the fatigue, the customer stress, and just what that puts on the slides and the 10, 15, 20, 30-minute waits that you can experience for the showstopper, which is these big crazy slides that these parks have, but take some of the stress off of that. Well, again, adding the ancillary revenues with really unique experiences. I think it's something that can work to tell these stories, can help to offset these stresses that we're talking about in these parks. There's a lot of benefits and of course many different ways that these unique experiences and different ways of thinking for these water parks can really benefit the core of the water parks, which of course is always going to be the lazy rivers and the water slides.
And I think you bring up a really good point too, because it's not just about the revenue dollars, it's also about the guest experience and the differentiator. And I think that, obviously one of the biggest drivers of adding a new attraction is the marketability of it. And I want to have the biggest, the flashiest, but sometimes it's looking at, do you have a boring pool in your park that you really want to add something new? Because,
Yes.
I think the neat piece is there's some of your attractions can be retrofitted into non-performing areas. It doesn't have to be this $10 million new attraction. It can be something where you look at areas of your park underperforming and what sort of solutions do you have to create a whole new environment?
Yeah, I mean, that really speaks to the Diver Plus, our VR snorkeling product, which the whole idea for that is to create revenue generation in swimming pools. I mean, it was intended initially for resorts and hotels where the only revenue generated at a swimming pool is F&B. I mean, there's no pay to create attractions in a resort swimming pool. So Diver Plus is a portable system. You wheel it up to the edge of a pool. It sets up in a couple minutes. You can do it in very shallow water. And it's these 5-minute VR experiences while floating in water. And it just completely takes guests to a whole new world. But it could be done in water parks as well. I mean, as you said, there's a lot of pools that are underutilized and maybe they could be retrofitted with a new attraction.
I love that. And when it comes to the VR piece and some of the theming, does your team actually provide the theming, or is it something you would work in collaboration with just out of curiosity? Is it, somebody comes to you with an idea, they want to create this experience, the actual like theming storytelling piece, you might come up with some ideas, but do you outsource it? Do you work with partners?
We work with partners. I mean, we have a lot of creative ideas, but that is not our wheelhouse. We can give
Nope.
some unique ideas. Obviously, we know like all the viewing perspectives underwater, at what heights theming should be, and the depths and all that kind of stuff. But more recently, we've been working with MI Concept, and they're a design firm, and they have some fantastic storytelling capabilities. And so, just bringing that to the underwater environment, and also doing it in a visual way to show clientele, because as I mentioned earlier, a lot of time it's hard to convey these experiences just through words. So visuals are certainly a must in our industry. So yeah, we've been working with some outside partners. We've been doing some in-house work, but our scope is beneath the surface. We're sticking to our lane of everything underwater.
Love it. We've talked a little bit about water parks and some different industries. I know that you guys have done work with aquariums. You've done work with, like, how do you bridge some of that into education? I was thinking about how you utilize some of your different experiences, not only just for entertainment, but also like edutainment with like aquariums and marine life. Can you tell us a little bit about that side of the business?
Yeah. I mean, we're in 16 aquariums now. I think 16 aquariums all over the United States and abroad. I think one aquarium that stands out to me, and Keenan can probably speak more to this, is the Florida Aquarium. They have our Sea Trek program there, and they've done an incredible job with an outreach program to kids in cities that maybe don't have access to public swimming pools or even to the ocean to get in the water. And so they've created this program where kids can come and do Sea Trek and get in the water and see the fish up close, and then they talk about it in the classroom afterward, and it's just an indelible experience. They'll remember that for the rest of their lives. And I love that outreach program. It's really expanded.
Yeah, I think the easy and unique access to aquarium environments for us is big with Sea Trek, because I think of it kind of like three tiers. There's, we always say that with our products, we like to educate through entertainment. It's very hard to do the other. And aquarium environments are known for being rather one-dimensional, and can be somewhat static, although they've gotten crazy with ideas too over the years. But one that's always remained tried and true is our Sea Trek experience, and being able to get guests, underwater on the other side of the acrylic, and in there, seeing and experiencing this marine life. So there's that education through the entertainment and the immersive experience with Sea Trek. A number of our aquarium locations are working to help the more underserved parts of the community with Boys and Girls Clubs, definitely, more centered around youth, of course, and inspiring them, which is obviously a huge passion of ours. But yeah, Florida Aquarium is a great one. They're just a real benchmark in terms of what they've done in the Tampa metro area, and getting, underserved youth into the aquarium, and then in to participate in Sea Trek. It's just such an easy turnkey way to be able to get people who don't know how to swim, or otherwise would not be willing to try snorkeling, scuba diving, to get them into the water and just to inspire them about our oceans and sustainability and coral propagation. We do a lot of coral propagation with our operations and coral farming. So that's another big one. And then the third tier of that, with respect to the aquariums, is how a lot of our aquarium operators do veteran outreach as well. So that, again, it's just something that's so special for us, and what it can provide from a therapeutic standpoint for veterans with PTSD, disabled veterans, with Sea Trek, and our adapted Sea Trek program also, which is our Sea Trek wheelchair program. We're able to, I would say, pretty easily and efficiently get people who are otherwise unable to get underwater in Sea Trek, through both the use of our adapted wheelchair, for disabled participants, but also even just with being creative with our dive staff. I know that our aquarium operation in Scottsdale, Arizona, Odyssey Aquarium, they have a really unique partnership with Wings for Warriors, and I'm pretty sure they have guys that come out every week almost, or at least every month, just to do Sea Trek. They have a lot of repeat guys that come out just because they want a way to get away and relax and do something that takes them away from whatever they might be going through. And I know that we've used dive staff to actually hold on to guests who maybe are paraplegic or have lost limbs. we're pretty adaptable and creative with being able to get people who otherwise wouldn't be able to get underwater with Sea Trek, and making, concessions with our dive staff. I mean, that location has shut down operations just to be able to get a unique participant like that underwater when we have to allocate more dive staff to them. So I love all those different prongs that we serve through, through our products, through our little helmet diving system, the reach that we've had with these different communities. I think it's just so special for us, and how we'll continue to, with these aquariums. And as we grow in more aquariums, they obviously are amazing at community outreach. Most aquariums are really good at that. So we're really honored to be a part of it in those really unique ways too.
I think that's so wonderful. I mean, my next question was actually going to be about accessibility, because I know that's a big part of some of the different attractions you offer, and how rewarding that must be to be able to see that you've created a product that's truly inclusive and allows people of differing abilities to be able to get underwater and get that experience. It reminds me, I think I've spoken to you guys about this, but one of the things we did with our standing wave development with Epic Surf was looking at how we could really get anybody surfing. And although it's above the water versus in the water, has a lot of similarities of, that was really at the forefront. And you kind of have to put that at the forefront of your design and start to really think of like, how is this going to be a challenge for people with differing abilities? And, we had veterans with PTSD or people with visual impairments, and a girl who was 10 with cerebral palsy and said that she never in a million years thought she could do something like that, but she was surfing. And I think just the rewarding of like the core of really showing that what you're doing isn't just fun, that it really is truly touching people, is such an amazing thing that you guys do.
Thank you. Yeah.
Means a lot to us.
I think a lot of it too is trying to take the intimidation factor out of these products. Like if you were to say diving to someone, most people would be like, there's no way I'm doing this. But then when you tell them, look, at your hair won't even get wet. You can breathe normally through your nose and mouth. Like you'll just be walking underwater. Then you start to open that door of possibility. And it's the same with the standing wave. Like I think I would be intimidated to go surfing, but knowing that option is out there, then I would be more likely to get out there.
Yeah. You think about the innovation and time of the last decade with regards to the technology and standing waves and these surf lagoon developments, and I can't even imagine the mass of people that have gotten into surfing because of those welcoming environments. And obviously there's a huge mystique around, people surfing and sharks in the open ocean. And obviously a lot of people are scared to go out in the open ocean, period. But probably there's a lot of people who would love to go out and surf, but don't want to do it because of things like that too. So just to think about how accessible both standing waves, surf lagoons, the development of waves and wave technology has forwarded. Obviously the surfing industry and movement is forever changed because of those innovations and developments.
Yeah.
But again, just making it more accessible for people who otherwise would never be able to stand on a board is incredible. It's just so fun. It's so inspiring. You think about how many other doors it's probably opened up for people too, just to be able to get out and try surfing.
Yeah.
Well, and even to the accessibility of experiences like you offer, that's bringing underwater to areas where people might not have the means or the financial means to get to the ocean, right?
Yeah.
So to be able to bring that into your hometown where you can learn to dive in the middle of Nebraska or Saudi Arabia, right? I mean,
or Springfield, Missouri. I mean, we have Owners Wildlife is an amazing aquarium. It's at Bass Pro's headquarters. Their OG, their founding Bass Pro shops is in Springfield, Missouri, and that's where Wonders Wildlife is. And we have a Sea Trek location there, and I mean, that's almost smack dab middle of America. And the demographic and clientele of people there are ones just like you nailed it. Those are people who otherwise probably would never even go out to the coast and experience, our oceans. And they have that whole, full-fledged experience right there in an aquarium in the middle of the U.S. So yeah, it's to capture and captivate people like that again, who just otherwise wouldn't experience anything close is really, really cool.
And you think about too, like just the skill of learning that experience, like surfing or diving or whatever it may be, how people who have that in their hometown now have the ability to really get so good at it compared to people that might wait in the ocean to see marine life, or they might not be able to go diving every month. They might have to go once a year, or they might not get, if they go out surfing in the ocean, might not catch a wave. So it's pretty incredible what the industry, how it's changing, how it's evolving into these skill-based immersive experiences. And it's exciting to see what the next 5-10 years really look like, with all these people with different talents.
It's like no pressure on us, right? Developers to come up with the latest and greatest thing.
That's right. What's next, Subsea Systems?
I mean, that's another testament to Dad. I mean, you talk about all the stuff that we continue to come up with. He's never stagnant in his thoughts. We know that for sure. But he's always pushing and reiterating the need to continue to move, continue moving, continue innovating. We may have just released a new product and he's already moved on to what's next and what we're going to continue to come up with and come out with, in the next 1 to 2 years, 3 to 5, so on and so forth. But yeah, it's to think about where we are now, in our own product innovation, the industry's product innovation, and to try and imagine where that would be even 5 years from now is mind blowing. It really is mind.
And for us, it's kind of twofold. I mean, we love to push the industry and just see what will be next and innovate, but it's also creating a legacy for our company because, we're in this for the long run. All my siblings, myself included, we all have kids. We'd love for the third generation to be able to come into an established business and keep that legacy going. So
there's a lot of motivation, a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And who's the oldest kid? Who has the oldest kid?
So our older brother, Kyle, his son, Wyatt, is the oldest, and the oldest he turns 9 in a couple days. So we got a ways to go.
The phones already, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll push a broom every now and again, and
right on the forklift.
Yeah, right on the forklift with me. We're like Hannah said, we're a little ways off from that G3.
But we put in a lot of work here. We're members of an organization here in California in the greater Sacramento region called the Family Business Center. And they really have helped educate us on how to establish a family business and really set the foundation for long-term growth in a family business. So, for example, this past year, we spent a lot of time setting up our succession plan and getting it on paper so that we know what our dad's wishes are for the company, so that we're on the same page. Because you hear the horror stories, family businesses can fall apart if there's no clear direction, and we really want to avoid that. So we're putting in the work now, hopefully for great success in the future.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, thank you guys so much. I was going to say, any last words, anything that you want to give as a piece of advice to somebody who's looking at something different, or any last final statements?
Think outside the box, people. You surf park, water park developers.
Yeah.
Let's get creative here.
Yeah.
Forward.
Creative, collaborate.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many talented people in our industry and so much opportunity. Get out to these events like IAPA events, which we all are very familiar with. What an incredible networking opportunity, and put yourself out there. Go be social and see what you can create.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. Thank you guys so much for joining the podcast. We really loved having you on. This was fun. You gave me my afternoon coffee burst that I needed. Catching up with you guys.
Thanks, Julie.
So thank you, Julie.
You definitely filled our cup.
Yes, we love ADG. We just love working with you guys, and we're excited for what's to come.
Sounds good. And I think we'll see you guys next in the Middle East for the Middle East Summit. So not you.
Me. I'll be there.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll see you there.
I'll be there.
Well, thank you guys.
I'll be somewhere.
We might get the other brother this time.
I don't know what you're going to get. We're going to be, our travel schedule is nice and full in the next few months. So we'll see what's happening.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, looking forward to it.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for listening. Catch us next time on the Smart Park Podcast.